Hey, good afternoon. It's good to see everyone here. Welcome to our Tech Tuesday, first Tech Tuesday of the year. So we're excited to be running the webinar again this year. I think for now it looks like our schedule cadence is going to be about every 6 weeks. There's a few things Milan will talk about today in the course of the What's New that'll kind of talk about the new release schedule and things, but just a few little housekeeping things before we hand it off to Milan to start. As always, feel free to enter all your questions into the question pod for the meeting, and I will pick those up as we go along. And then if there's questions in there that we think are good for the whole audience, we'll save those until the end. And of course, as we go through the presentation, if you have questions you want to collaborate on and save for the end, you can bring those up at the end of the meeting as well. So with that, I will hand it off to Milan. Milan, we can see you, but not hear you.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, perfect. Anyways, like I was, what I was saying on mute was, yeah, just like Rodney, I'm very excited to get these webinars up and going again. And to those of you attending, welcome back. And to those of you who this is your first Tech Tuesday, well, welcome to the crew we have going on here. So for agenda today, the first thing we're going to be covering are the major updates in Innovator 24 and 25. Then we'll be moving on to some pretty exciting Innovator product updates for the new year. And then we'll go to our Q&A section. Like Rodney mentioned, feel free to post any questions in the chat. And then we'll wrap up, kind of highlight some future events and things of that nature. So to begin, enhancements to Innovator 24 and 25. So the list is a little short for these two. I think it partially has to do with some changes Aras has done to the release structure. But there's still some good content here. So first things first is some client enhancements that have been released in 24 and 25. Most of these things are pretty simple ease of use upgrades. Things like providing the ability to copy data from individual cells, or being able to set kind of a pre-configured login view when you log into your Innovator environment. Another key thing here is a new release of the Office Connector. Those of you who attend our subscriber user group might have seen some of this in our kind of sneak peek of Tech Tuesday, but those are just some continued enhancements to the Office Connector. Just keep moving along the line, ease of use things in general. So to highlight a few of these Office Connector upgrades, got a few slides here, or just a slide here. First, the Office Connector will automatically display an Innovator login when you open the connector, or open the Aras tab in Office. You're also able to multi-select items to link documents to. So in the case of, I have a Word doc that relates to a whole bill of materials, I can link that document to that entire BOM and not have to re-upload it and reattach it multiple times. There's also new notifications for users. So there's new admin control over whether templates are accessible to users. This is largely state-based. So if a template is in preliminary or in work or just isn't released really, end users won't be able to access those templates. So instead of just providing an error code, Aras created some dialog boxes that come up to kind of explain the issue why users are not going to be able to access templates that they're normally using. Also provided some enhancements to advanced search, adding new operators that are able to use more, in reality, just lining it up with the normal Aras search toolbar, just having that functionality be the same. And then one last thing here for the Office Connector is support of client certificate authentication, just providing an extra security layer over how to access your Innovator environment. On top of that, some client upgrades for 24, mainly user friendliness. Excuse me. So one being a progress indicator for searches. There's times where a search may take longer than anticipated, and it's kind of hard to tell whether the search is still in progress or your environment may have locked up. So there's now a progress indicator that pops up for longer searches, just to keep you more in the loop. You're also able to multi-edit in the search grid, which is really exciting, mass edit functionality. and you're able to save all of these edits at once. As I mentioned earlier, you're able to copy values directly from grid cells now as well. Just more bringing back some user friendliness into the search grid, really, allowing that mass edit and functionality that a lot of people have requested over the years. And then finally, the ability to save your current tabs as a login view, which I kind of show in a screenshot here where you can access that in the Preferences tab. And this will really just allow you to speed up project. Excuse me, dog just broke my arm. This will really allow you to speed up productivity when you log back in. If I have my parts search grid and my CAD search grid in the same, or open in my session, I can save that. So when I come back, I can re-log in. Sorry about that. So now to the more of the meat of this presentation, and that's going to be the product updates to Innovator. So to start is Aras free. So most of you are probably aware of the open release that Aras has been providing for ages now at this point. So I think since about 2007. But the release has been frozen at 12 SP9 for over 2 years. So obviously with this new release schedule, things have been moving pretty quickly. And from 12 SP9 to the current release 25, that's 21 service packs and releases behind. So there have been plenty of changes since then. For those of you who have attended all of our Tech Tuesdays, you've seen things like the talk editor, configurable dashboards, many ease of use upgrades, UI enhancements, and even 2 new business applications that have been released since then in variant management and the process engine. So with Aras free, that kind of brings the open release up to speed. The Aras free, so it's a new distinct separate release. So it's not a subscriber release per se, but it is based upon Innovator 23. So you'll have all the functionality within the open release, or sorry, free release as the main release of Innovator 23. But you won't, it takes a few extra steps to move on to subscription versus in the past. So when you're moving from free to subscription, the environment will be converted to Innovator 23. So there's a few scripts that Aras will run and kind of change some backend things to move from free version to Innovator 23. And then at that point, an upgrade can be performed to move on to any later versions that you may be interested in. So just a quick highlight or recap on what features are subscription only versus free. Those would be 3D visualization and conversion, the PDF viewers, publishing and watermarking, visual collaboration, Office connector, enterprise search, component engineering, batch loader, things of that nature. But another thing to highlight as well is when you're operating on the free version is you don't get that L1 support. So you're running really on your own there. You don't have access to the Aras provided upgrades. So if you're running on the free version 2023, you won't be able to apply the new patches whenever, say, 26, 27 come out. You'll be stuck on 2023 until the next open release. And even then, the upgrade is from multiple free versions isn't very straightforward. It's more of a migration project at that point. Alongside that, when you're on subscription, you get access to all the training resources that Aras provides in their subscriber portal. And as well, you get access to Aras SaaS if you're on the cloud hosted option. I think I'm missing a slide. So one thing to actually highlight as well when you're on the free version is what's actually included. So the free version essentially will have the same functionality as the current open release of Aras. You'll have access to all the main business apps. You'll have access to the low-code modeling platform, the open APIs, things of that nature. So nothing changes on that front. It's really just bringing that open version up to speed and providing a name change. So you will have access to things like the variant management application and process engine as well when you upgrade. So another product highlight here is the SolidWorks PDM Pro Connector. So Those of you who are making use of it, you might notice that there hasn't been an update to the PDM Pro Connector since Innovator 12 SP17. And there is a good reason for that. So Aras is no longer able to sell or develop the connector. And they only really have the ability to support the connector through March of 2023. So due to that, Aras has made the decision to end of life the product immediately. They've pretty much figured that if they have no ability to develop the connector any further, they won't be able to expand functionality and the product will eventually go out of date anyways. So they'll be looking to move people off of the PDM Pro connector and more move to the direct SolidWorks connectors that are available from partners. So a few Tech Tuesdays back, we actually did a demonstration on one of these connectors provided by 𝘎𝑃𝑙𝑚. But there's also connectors provided by XPLM and a few other partners as well that handle the SolidWorks integration really well and very intuitively. With that, one other thing to cover here is the new one other thing to cover here really quick is the new Aras release schedule. So now, instead of shifting from the new functionality every 5 weeks as previous, Aras has decided to delay and change to 1 release per quarter. And this release will occur on the Monday closest to the middle of the quarter, which allows us to have a little bit of predictability on when these releases are coming out. So we can project right now that release 26 will be out February 13th, and release 27 will be out May 15th. So there's a few good reasons for this. One being that less frequent releases will provide more content in each. Some of you might have noticed if you're keeping up with our Tech Tuesdays, some of these Aras releases don't have much content within them. They're mainly bug fixes, quick patches over known issues within the platform. And there's not always extravagant new functionality to get people excited about upgrading or even to get us excited about sharing it with you. So that'll make it easier on us to keep track of all the releases and also make it easier on you to keep up with the releases. And even when you're looking to upgrade, it gives more time in between the releases to evaluate, write test scripts, actually perform the upgrade itself and make sure everything's working properly until you move to the next one. And another thing is it also gives us a lot more content for each individual Tech Tuesday. So it allows us to give you more in-depth, rich content, keep you entertained, things of that nature. So with that, I want to quickly go back over. You might remember this this slide from back in the day with a few modifications here, just to kind of go over the new Aras release approach. So every quarter now, we'll have a new subscriber release, which will be the full featured. You'll need to have an Aras subscription to make use of that release. So those of you on subscription, nothing really changes. You're just going to see new content every quarter. With the open release, there's not an established schedule yet for when the next release will come out. Based on how they're branding it at the moment with Aras Free 2023, I would say it's a relatively safe assumption that we could see new open releases yearly at this point. But all of that at this point is kind of conjecture. But if you are on the open release 2023, your path to upgrade will be from this open release here up to 23, and then you can move forward as you wish. Aras applications, so things like the Office connector, manufacturing process planning, any of those applications that or platform components that you are making use of, the schedule for them to get upgrades will also be following this same quarterly release structure. So when release 26 comes out, if there's a change to Office connector, it'll be branded as Office connector 26 still. And then to continue, this will also, in a way, affect the connectors, but also allow them to keep up. Those of you who are making use of the 𝘎𝑃𝑙𝑚 connector or any other connectors may notice that the connector functionality might be a couple releases behind at times, and this allows the partners like SIG and us as well with our manufacturing suite to keep up with development, keep up with the changes, and make sure that we're able to certify our products for every single release, which is a big plus for us as well. So with that, that's about all we had to share today. I think Rodney had a few things to also share in terms of the PDM Pro connector, so we could let him do that.
Yeah, we have a couple questions here. So we had one question that was from one of the earlier updates you had, Milan. So the question was, is the copy, so one of the new features you mentioned was copying.
Yep.
Is the copy available both with Milan, did you get that?
Sorry, Rodney, you cut out there.
Is the copy available for cells?
You kind of cut out again, sorry.
Yeah, so, I can relay this. Is copy both to and from grid cells?
Yeah, so that so that functionality will work. So you're able to copy and paste from a grid cell to another. Yeah. Sorry, Rodney, I couldn't understand your question at times. Yeah, so when you copy from an individual cell, you'll be able to paste that into it.
Very good, very good. And then another question we had here was what the minimum user count is currently required to get a subscription. So I can update, I can provide an update for this. So Aras usually makes any changes to subscription announcements, usually right around this time of year, just after the new year into Q1. So this year, there's no changes based on what we had last year. So the normal minimum subscription is a tier 50. We should have seen any price changes, things across subscription already happen as well. So I think most of you have, all that's already been communicated to any subscribers that we have. And those of you who are prospects or looking to move to subscription, any quotes or things that you had from the previous quarter are usually good through about this month, which is pretty standard practice and has been for Aras for some time. So yeah, the minimum tier is still a tier 50. I think if you're looking at anything below that, be sure to reach out to us and talk. There's a number of things that we can position. It could be Aras Open, or there is the Aras Essentials offering now. That might be something that we talk about a little bit in the next Tuesday, is what the Essentials offering includes. So that might also be an option for potentially new customers. So, but yeah, still tier 50 now. So no move back to the old tier 25. And then we have a third question here. So the Aras roadmap contains a couple of entries regarding reporting. Is there a new reporting service upcoming, or is this a reference to something else? So Milan, I'll let you get that one since you're our roadmap expert.
Yeah, so the reporting updates, they should just be kind of built on top of the current reporting functionality within Aras. So like self-service reporting, and also kind of the report item type that's built on XSLT. So I think that there's no new, reporting method being added to Aras. I think it's just more of a continued evolution of what they currently have.
Yeah, and I can second that. We've had some good technical meetings with Aras toward the end of the year to talk about our product roadmap and then the things they have that they're releasing. And I think additional things to self-service reporting, but still a lot of the more enhanced or advanced reporting capabilities that we're having customers request from us. We're still doing a lot of stuff with SSRS. And those customers that are current Clover integration customers, we're still able to use that to do a lot of data warehousing and reporting as well. So there's other options, but we are seeing Aras make some enhancements to the self-service reporting that's been available there. So one other thing I wanted to mention is Milan talked about the changes to the PDM Pro Connector and some of the stuff that's going on between, let's say, 𝙊𝘀 and Aras around that product. So Razorleaf has, for a long time, as many of you know, been not just have experience in the past with ePDM Pro, Kinesio, ePDM, like the same product under all these different names, but has also done integration with that for the better part of more than 10 years. So we have a number of customers who are already working with PDM Pro integration, and we've had a packaged offering for PDM Pro to Aras for some time. Those customers that are coming to us to talk to us about what do we do now, we wanted to do a PDM Pro integration with Aras, and we don't really want to get rid of PDM Pro to move to, let's say, the 𝙎𝑀 connector, for example, which is what we position. We're going to use, our position there is that the Clover integration, the package integration offering between Aras and PDM Pro is your best bet. We've done that. We've got a good pre-packaged offering. The offering hits all the major wheelhouse items that those customers are looking for. So parts and BOMs integration being passed, native CAD or watermarking and publishing, as well as even some additional things like project creation. So I create a project folder in PDM Pro. I want that related to the project in Aras. So I have a good solution there. We feel like we're prepared to help those customers through that. So if you have any questions related to that, definitely reach out. I have a really good project presentation that I can give that outlines exactly what that integration looks like. So we're there to help. If that is a mass interest to everyone here, if we have enough customers that are interested in that, definitely let me know, and we will get that in the queue for a future Tech Tuesday too. So we didn't show a lot of product today. Milan wasn't in the product. There were a lot of strategic, more strategic things to kind of talk about today. So we're hoping this next quarter's release, with Aras kind of spreading out the release cycle to once a quarter, we're hoping that our Tech Tuesdays will be more packed with more demo-rich content, let's say. So I'll give just a few more minutes to let Milan add any closing thoughts and see if we have any final questions. So if there's any final questions, put those in the queue now. Any closing thoughts, Milan?
Yeah, I think you wrap things up pretty well there. Looking forward to really having more content-rich releases. I love going into the platform and really poking around and showing you guys some cool things. But I think a Tech Tuesday like today is pretty important just with the reshifting of Aras really at this point. So the new strategic things that they're offering, their new scheduling and things of that nature, important things that we needed to go through. And luckily we had that versus really not having much to show at all. So yeah, looking forward to the new release structure and seeing what Aras can provide in these releases, and looking forward to some really action-packed and exciting Tech Tuesdays. And so with that, if we haven't had any more questions come through, I guess we can highlight a few of our upcoming events, Rodney.
Yeah, that's great. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna mute you here to do 𝙎𝑀. Perfect. Yeah, so we are excited to continue all the marketing stuff. So we're going to continue the Tech Tuesdays at the cadence we have. We may mix in, we do have some Razorleaf product enhancements around the Razorleaf manufacturing suite and Clover coming, so we might mix some of that into the Tech Tuesdays. As Milan mentioned, the next Tech Tuesday is going to be March 14th. We should have some good things to cover there. And then the other thing we're pretty excited about is we're going to continue on with our subscriber user group. So for those of you who are Razorleaf subscribers, we have a number of new things we're going to be launching. There's some whispers I can probably put out about Razorleaf Advantage and some of the things we're doing there around Razorleaf product for subscriber groups. And then we are going to do the user group once a quarter. So those customers that have been regular collaborators in that, we're super excited about the stuff we have planned for this year. We've offered, we'll probably have some other consultants, some other services folks on our team involved in that group this year. So we're pretty excited about that. Q1, 2, and 4 are still planned to be remote sessions. And then Q3, we do plan to get back together in what looks like Grand Rapids again this year. So it was just so great to have everybody together last year. We're looking forward to doing that again. And then the one last thing to tease is that we know that Aras is going to run the ACE event again this year. So we'll probably host our subscriber reception and get people together again out there as well. So it'll be really fantastic to have the whole Aras community together again. So if you, I'll have slides on the official dates for that upcoming, but if you're just out there Googling, doing some planning for Q2, definitely be looking for the Aras ACE event and information on that coming. We would love to see you out there. So I think with that, we are good for today's Tech Tuesday. So we'll look forward. Thank you all for attending. It was great to have really good attendance today. I think we had around 15, 16 people join. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.